Welcome to Simcast, a podcast brought to you by the Society for Imaging Informatics and Medicine.
Greetings, our listeners. It goes without saying that it was really good for us to get back together at Sim22. If you didn't make it, on my behalf and everybody else's, we missed you. We had a lot of great time catching up with amazing people who make up the Sim community. We, the hosts of Simcast, kept busy at Sim22 recording episodes for you. And today we've got a second installment in our Between Two Fellows series. Today we have Drs. Adam Flanders and Dr. Chuck Kahn. The two do not need an introduction. They're very famous people in the Sim circles and beyond. We sat down with hosts Prasanth, Ali, and myself, Mohannad. We sat down and talked. Pretty much no agenda, no real questions. It's a pretty lighthearted episode, a mix of serious and funny. I hope you enjoy.
Dear listeners, we're here with Dr. Chuck Kahn and Adam Flanders. If I had to enumerate all their accomplishments and the things they do, that would take up the entire podcast. So we'll just say they're two awesome fellows of Sim and people who we can never get enough of talking to. I was apparently supposed to start recording earlier because we were in a very deep conversations about Prasanth's shoes. Unfortunately, I missed it, so my deepest apologies to every one of you.
We can recapitulate the whole conversation. I pretty much remember we did.
I think we ended on you saying that you wanted to buy a pair to wear into work on Monday.
And not only that, high heel toe shoes.
Toe shoes, yeah. No, I think
I think that'd be great.
And heels for each toe.
Yes.
Listen, all I could say is if I wore those shoes in Philadelphia, it'd be my last day on earth. Pretty much.
Well, you can put an Eagle sticker on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man, that would make it even worse, man. Yeah, cool. Wow. So, yeah, Chuck, do you have any accomplishments that Mohannad just mentioned? Any of them? Are they worthy talking about?
I think we're pretty well done right
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay, that's a wrap.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, I know. Were any of them legal? That's what we want to know about. Because this is going to be in the archives forever.
Yeah.
So you better be careful what you say, man.
I can start with a question. So
sure.
For the listeners' benefit, we are actually recording this at the Sim22 annual meeting.
At Kissimmee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So not only is it amazing to be back in person, but of course, it actually allows us to do something like this where we're all around one microphone and we can actually talk over each other and laugh with each other rather than Zoom where everybody gets muted. So why don't I start with Chuck? What is your favorite thing about the meeting so far?
Well, it's been great, for one, to get back, to actually have conversation with people. And no one has been on mute the entire time. Where, it's live. It's just good to see people in three dimensions. And the sessions were good. And as always, learned a lot. And it's just nice to get back and see colleagues and friends in one place.
Yeah. I must echo that. I mean, I think outside of Sim, the first meeting I went to after the pandemic or, on the edge of the pandemic, it was kind of like everybody agreed, I don't even care if the content of the meeting isn't any good. It's just like so good to see your colleagues again and get to talk to them and share your experiences and everything else. And then it's a bonus to actually get great content on top of it. And it's definitely true. I think people miss this. Yeah. That's why I don't think, there are a lot of discussions about has COVID made the in-person meeting obsolete. And there were companies out there. I remember watching this startup on the BBC, some techie guy saying, this is the way we run conferences. This is how it's going to be done. No one's going to want to do this. So you pick your little avatar. Here you get to walk through the convention center. You get to see everything. You could wear, an Oculus Rift and whatever else, and that'll be perfect. And it's like, what? Are you insane? Yeah. You are justifiably insane. There's no way you cannot replicate the human experience.
It's exhausting. Yeah. Usually, I think all of us, one of the things we discovered was committee meetings, anything else that was originally scheduled as like a 2-hour meeting suddenly got reduced to 45 minutes on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Amazing that we were able to be so productive.
Yeah.
Part of that is that it is really exhausting to try to do things. And you need the variety. You need to get out of your usual place to actually be in a real, even with, you could wear your VR headset, but I mean, come on, you're just being in the convention center, seeing, some new people, smelling the good, fresh convention center air. And,
the stale coffee, man.
Yeah.
I do miss going to a meeting in the bathtub. You prop your iPod up on the side.
Well, we can make that happen here.
I know. Exactly. I know.
There's a hot tub just down there.
You have to be careful you don't get electrocuted on that. Yeah, it's a safety thing.
Exactly.
You're putting a waterproof thing. Yeah.
I think personally, the biggest thing that you would miss if you didn't meet in person, a friend of mine, I'm trying to remember who, I wish I could give him credit, coined the term hallway education.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it was brilliant because, just being able to walk up to people and strike that conversation, the one-on-one knowledge transfer is just second.
And more than that, it's like those are often some of the most productive, not only educationally, but scientifically too. Yep. Often you end up chatting with one of your colleagues and you say, hey, I've got this, kind of idea. And they say, or you learn of something that they're doing and it stimulates ideas of your own and it just leads to new discoveries.
You come up with some problems that you're having. It's like, hey, how did you guys solve this at your shop? Or do you have the same problem? I was talking with Luciano a couple of years ago, and he's like, he looks at me, he's like, when you solve that, let me know because we're doing the exact same. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only one. Like, okay, fine. That's reassuring too. Otherwise, you're like, you're out on your own. You're trying to do all this stuff, and you're like, I have no idea if anything. Am I just reinventing the wheel here? Like, nope, I'm not. Good.
Yeah, but it's one of those moments too where you get with somebody and you go, hey, I've got peanut butter, and they go, I've got chocolate.
Right.
And I'm Rick Wiggins because I've got both peanut butter and chocolate
all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know, it's true. Yeah, the one thing that I think was also missing, I think, with the virtual process is, and I don't know, I mean, you guys tell me if this is just horse pucky, as they would say, but when I would leave a meeting like this, I would go back all jazzed up because not only did I learn stuff, but I talked to people that were doing stuff that I wanted to try back in my own shop. And, it's like when the last Zoom session on the virtual meeting ended, I just felt all empty inside. I'd it was rote, it was just didactic and there was none of that stuff, none of that excitement afterwards, even doing virtual meetups. It's kind of like every time I go to SIM, I have all kinds of, it just, generates all kinds of ideas of things I want to try when I get home.
Yeah. And you see those like nonverbal cues too, right? Like in person, you can see on Zoom, you can see faces, but it's different seeing the expressions, hearing that tone in their voice.
Yeah.
And it's better not to be able to,
when you say something dumb and people go, and you can hear it.
And here I know where to look. I know to look at your eyes, right? On the computer.
You have to, because I have a mask on.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. And not only that, but there's a feeling, right? It's in our language, right? You could cut the tension in the room with a knife. It is literally in our language that we can feel other people's emotions, right?
Yeah.
So the feeling when you're like talking to someone and like they don't get it, it may not be on their face yet, but and then you can
your body language, everything else that you
it
don't.
all adds up.
Yeah.
I was reading something that said like 7% of communication is like the actual content of what you said. Everything else is either nonverbal cues or all this other stuff. So like email and text is like ridiculous. Like it's worthless. Yeah. Other than for like logistics of like, we will meet here at this time. Okay, great.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why autism is so devastating.
Yeah.
People don't realize, well, what do you mean they can't recognize verbal? That's, whatever. It's most of what communication is all about is reading verbal cues.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, you're basically cut off from the world.
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy.
So I have a question for both of you.
Uh-oh. Make Chuck go first.
Okay, Chuck.
Yeah.
What are your
What's your favorite color?
Pass.
Does your institution take part in bidet?
Bidet.
Bidet, yeah.
Is that one of those things that washes your rear end?
Yeah. No, it's belonging, inclusivity, diversity, equality in technology. Bidet.
Oh man! Oh, you just made that up?
No, this has been around.
This is real.
This is like
so
this is a thing.
Really?
Don't you guys do this? Don't you guys have bidet at your institution?
I have bidets at my house.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it.
I know.
We have bidets in the reading room.
Yeah.
Oh,
good. With those shoes. What?
You don't believe in bidet?
Oh
Bidet
man, boy!
Nowadays,
boy, do I! Man.
Of course.
Boy, do
Okay.
I!
Well,
Yeah. Why did you write it out? Why didn't you just hand me a book or a website to it?
Why would I do that? You're Adam Flint. You are a fellow of SIM. I am not.
What a letdown. Okay, I'm gonna have to return my SIM breakfast.
You also have Paras.
Yeah.
He's supposed to take care of these things for you.
Exactly.
Like, don't look at me.
I'm going to go right after Paras when I get back and say, dude, why didn't you?
Where's the bidet?
Yeah. Well, I know a bidet. Yeah, I know. That was good. You wasted all that time jotting that down on your iPad, man.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important.
So tell us,
Yeah,
what define bidet for us? Give us what is an example of.
You all know what this is.
Well, I would like to. I want to make sure I do before I talk about it.
Yeah.
Inclusivity, equality.
Are we
right?
all going to hug now? Is that
We
what
can
the
if you
deal is?
want.
Yeah,
I'll
okay,
give you a
cool.
hug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right,
We're
man.
about to
Big
sign
hug.
a document that says we aspire to be bidet.
Yeah, I
We will
know.
embody bidet.
Why don't we have badges that we're not wearing? Yeah,
there's
I'm
a
all
sticker.
about the bidet.
Yeah,
Where is
we
it?
can have, we can put, program committee badge.
Yeah,
that badge.
I know.
Bidet. We
Yeah.
can get bidet badges.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Bidet backer. I'm a
Yeah.
total bidet backer.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah. I'm right now today, June 10th. I'm going to commit $100,000 to the bidet initiative.
Folks, you heard it here first on Simcast.
This is the very beginning
Yeah.
of the Bidet Foundation.
I know.
The
Yeah.
bidet industry had no idea.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. Damn. Wow, that's good. That's really improvising, man. That's good.
That's actually all we had for today.
Oh, yeah. All
We
right.
hope you guys are carrying the rest of the way.
Okay.
That was a
It's between
solid
two fellows.
5 minutes.
Wow.
You throw some stuff out, and then you guys kind of go from there.
Wow. Be safe driving home, everyone. Yeah.
Tip the waitress.
Traffic and weather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So, what sessions have you guys enjoyed the most here so far, other than hanging out with other friends?
Well, I'll tell you, I was just telling Anna over at Sim headquarters.
Oh, the radio.
This was genius. The
Yeah.
radio was
Radios have
absolutely
been
genius.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
I heard Andrea and Nikki discovered it at another meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that used to be such a frustrating experience, those sessions. And like now everybody is in there, everybody is tuned in and they're getting it. You see everybody nodding their heads. It is totally weird when you walk up and you see mouths moving and nothing. You hear nothing over the din at all. And it's like, what is going on?
It's like a
over
silent
here?
dance.
Yeah, it is. It's really bizarre. And
Yeah.
then finally,
For those of you listening at home, the
Yeah.
device that Dr. Flanders is speaking of is a small radio.
Yeah.
That is
It's newfangled technology.
Yeah.
that actually sends sound waves
Wow.
invisibly through the air and
It's
allows
called
them.
a phonograph. Oh,
It's not your cell phone.
yeah, I know.
We're not talking about a cell phone here.
Yeah.
No, and it's simple. And people aren't frustrated because I remember being at the other sessions. They put the plexiglass up and this, you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
No, it
It's like
was. I have to say
audio.
that was a brilliant innovation for the meeting, and it allows you to have all these things happening in the exhibit hall space, which is always kind of a noisy
Right.
space anyway, and it lets people tune in and listen to the sessions that they want without having sound being blaring throughout the hall. And it was really an inspired idea and a really good choice to bring into this meeting.
Right.
Well, shout out to Team Sim, because I always say this, they never take a break. They're always trying new things.
Yeah.
You know,
Which I think is great.
This is definitely a brilliant idea. The idea of the tech talks is pretty good.
Yeah.
The interactivity with the polls and the mural boards, it's amazing. These men and women never rest, and they're always working hard doing things. It's
This a little event here could be the low point of the whole meeting. We'll just have to see.
That's not true.
I mean, somebody has to draw the line.
If this is the low bar, okay, we're doing all right.
Well, so I was just at the registration table and they asked me to recycle my radio.
Yeah.
And someone else told me that if I keep it and take it home, I can flip to channel E1 and I can hear Rick Wiggins talking to me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So is that true? Because I lost my radio. If that's true, I can go get it.
There's only one way.
Well, they actually they did install in his fillings. They have a microphone now, so anything Wiggins says, I think
all the
even
time.
that he thinks you may be able to hear through the
So that's
through that
deep,
radio.
That's deep thoughts.
I know it is.
The opening session just never ends.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Oh, yeah. It's a nonstop train, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
From morning till night, man.
It's-
You are getting
That's
some
like
pearls.
is that Snowpiercer then?
Yeah,
Stop
really
train?
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I know. Let me off this thing, man. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Yeah, well, I'll tell you the other thing that I thought was daring and brilliant, props to Chris Roth and the program committee, is, this hybrid content for the meeting, because, I think a lot of people would have just said, let's be very conservative, let's bring back our traditions or whatever else, and just said, let's see how this all ends up flying or whatever else. And I'm willing, to me, when the returns come in and the reviews or whatever else, I'm willing to bet a lot of people are going to say there was something for everybody at this meeting. It fulfilled the needs for everybody, the in-person meeting and the virtual meeting. And I think it'll be great. And it's props to everybody, because I'll bet you it was a ton of work to do this. The amount of content that's here.
It's like running 3 meetings, really more
exactly.
than when you do a hybrid virtual and in-person meeting. It's not 2 meetings. It's at least 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did this global component to it, the fact, and actually having the middle day being set aside to spend time in the exhibit hall so that people can connect with our commercial partners, they can see the posters, they can spend time doing other things.
Yeah.
I think it made for a really productive.
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
It was a good setup.
Did they say it was like 80% increase in the educational content?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was monstrous. Yeah, I forgot. They gave them the numbers, and it's like this year is like, what are you insane? How did you do that?
And for the people that don't know, Team Sim is like 10, maybe 12 people.
Right.
Total.
Yeah.
I shout out to them because I was talking to Missy this morning. She told me she was up at like 5:30 a.m. for some of the global content.
Yep.
It's so important to have that support there.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable that we can even do sessions on South America, on South Asia, really expand.
Yeah, but what a great way to do that. And I think, again, looking at the restructuring of the meeting and the return of our in-person meeting, but not just, as you said, Adam, not just looking at it as, back to business as usual, but as an opportunity for innovation, that we can actually try some things. And are all of them going to work out brilliantly? Well, we don't know. There's a lot of them. Judging by the quality of it, I think they might, but it's always good just to keep trying, to be out there and working to new stuff. And I'm getting a lot of nonverbal communication here around the table with people nodding.
A lot of people nodding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like bobbleheads. Yeah. That's the only thing that didn't happen. What happened to
where are the
bobbleheads? So we were going to have your bobbleheads for 2020. All right. So Content and Engagement Committee, when it existed a few years ago, because we were the podcast and party group, right? Yeah. For game night, we were going to have bobbleheads of all the Sim fellows as prizes.
Yeah.
Right. And then everything happened. So we didn't make the bobbleheads. Hopefully, we can talk to some people and get them for next year. I don't know if we're going to do game nights again or whatever else, but the College of Sim Fellows, if you guys want to make bobbleheads, you can make bobbleheads.
Knock yourself out.
Some people may say we already have
we already have a bobblehead.
I
saw that guy just sitting in a session.
I have a different way of doing this.
Right.
So we make the bobbleheads anyway, and every time you renew your membership, you get a random one. It's kind of like going to McDonald's for Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you can
collect the whole series.
The problem is that I'm just worried that all of mine are going to end up on the shelf because people are going to trade mine away for an Adam Flanders or a Wiggins, or it's like, hey, can I get a Kathy Andriol? Exactly. I got this one. And I'm really,
but that's what'll be cool. You'll see everybody at Sim holding onto these things, striking deals with each other.
Well, then there's the rare golden version, right? The golden Adam Flanders.
There you go.
Or the sparkly.
The shinies, right?
And there's only one of them available. And you're the grand poobah if you're holding it.
Man, well, no, I think.
And then you can have NFTs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's not
your
bobbleheads. Oh, baby.
Oh, there we go.
I don't actually have the bobblehead, but I've got the NFT that says I own it.
Signed personally.
I know. These are the Beanie Babies of the future, man. I think they are. And, although, I think it's going to be basically like the Keith Dreyer and Elliot Siegel ones. Those are going to be the collectibles, Yeah.
Honestly. That opens up the door for cheating. I mean, I'm already thinking about ways of collect them faster. Yeah, I'll be buying memberships for my wives and kids, all that stuff.
Really?
How many wives do you have?
Sorry, wife.
Yeah.
That's on the record.
I'm the one in Utah, but he's the one talking about wives.
Multiple wives. I know. Look at he's so envious of you, man. I know. Yeah, you like living God's country, man. Whatever you want, man.
Yeah. This is Jason Nagels. I'll lead to Johnny was not here. No, and so speaking of content engagement, and not really about bobbleheads, but we talked about things to get more involvement, right? And one of those things was a scavenger hunt, and to say, hey, first one to find Prasanth wins X amount of gold points or A pluses or star stickers, whatever the currency is, right?
And you have Prasanth hidden away for like a month, and no one's found him.
You show up because he's on the hyper part of the meeting.
Yeah, we put him.
It's like you're not. Well, it's like no, it's like except that you're a scavenger hunt item, but now you've been assigned to stay in your hotel room the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and so for this meeting, we identified someone who had Goombas from Mario on their socks, and no one's found him.
Oh, really?
No one's found them.
Wow.
So if
It's you.
If you see it, no, it's right.
It's you.
It's
Oh,
him.
you want
It's
to wear
him, those
socks?
socks.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you find them, let me know.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
And what's the
That's
price?
the task. Well,
Really?
Another conversation with us. That's
Oh, okay.
I don't even know most of the words they used in that.
Yeah.
Super Mario. If you see Mario,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Or like the pink mustache socks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
That's right.
You know, Lindsay Shea had a whole list of different things. Like, and what we were trying to do the last time we were doing the scavenger hunt was tie it into our Instagram account and Twitter, so that it's like get a picture with a board member and then you post it. Right.
Oh,
get a
okay.
picture with this, or, you know, find somebody who's a vendor or and get pictures, so that we actually make use of the Instagram account, and it would go to Twitter. So it would generate more tweets, and then it would be verification of like, yep. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You've won.
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
your prize.
Exactly. You
You know.
fill up your bingo board, man.
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
done.
I told you, podcasts and parties.
Yeah.
These are party games.
I know.
Yeah.
To get people involved, get people talking,
A
engaging.
number of meetings will do something where they give out a small prize to the most prolific tweeter during the
We
meeting.
did that for a few years, yes.
Right.
Yeah, but that stopped being fun because Tessa wins every year.
Every year.
We love you,
I know.
Tessa.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
Exactly.
Lady Cook.
And now
Don't,
they-
don't excommunicate us from
Really?
the society
I
now.
actually sat behind her in one of the sessions this year, and I could see like the way she
Furious,
acts.
yeah.
Oh, I can never get there.
Really? I thought she
Ever.
had bots working for her, man.
Yeah, I saw the
It's
leaderboard.
possible.
Yeah.
I saw the leaderboard, and she was up to like 120 something
Uh-huh.
for yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we were doing that, it's like, okay, if you've won last year, you're not winning again
Yeah.
because otherwise,
Exactly,
it's gonna be
man.
the same
Yeah,
people.
no one's
Right.
going to want to do it.
right?
Right.
Yeah, man. We've got to make it more fun. It's not, I mean, it's already pretty fun, but
We can do things.
And
We can
I-
find ways. Maybe hand out paintball guns randomly. Like, all right,
oh yeah,
how many sim fellows?
Yeah.
Can you paint?
Can you hit?
Yeah.
Within the next 30 minutes.
Or
Go.
that's
Yeah.
you know, we can vote for the best.
Hunt them out. Hunt them down.
We're gonna have to censor that out because you're advocating for violence. Now.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. No, it's all good, clean fun.
it's clean fun.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
clean.
green means best speaker.
There you go.
Yellow means best poster.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Red means best vendor. And
Yeah.
whoever
Right,
has
right.
the orange is kind of both, I guess.
Right.
right.
Exactly. Well, it's a point of pride, man. Whoever is just covered in paint.
There you go.
Yeah. it's
We
good.
actually did a squirt gun. My first year medical school class, we actually did a squirt gun fight. It was like whoever was left standing, right,
Oh.
dry, was
Right.
Really?
was the winner. Yeah,
Oh, you didn't like fill the guns with
and you
whiskey.
realize you get this sense of violence grows in you.
Yeah, yeah, really. You're so angry. Yeah, I know.
With a stupid plastic little squirt.
I know. You get
Yeah.
into the ground.
Med school sounds a lot more fun.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, was that the only fun moment in medical school? I mean, it might well have been.
It could have been.
My medical school, it might
Yeah.
well have
Well,
been.
now we watch videos at 2x speed. That's the thing they do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but now, no one was PC when we were in medical school, man. Yeah, that concept wasn't there. Yeah, the bidet club didn't exist. when we were in
I
medical
still don't get that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're going to learn. You will learn.
You have to. It's
Yeah.
important, man. It's
It
the way
is.
of the future.
It is.
So many ways of the future.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do not-
exactly.
I do
It's
not
funny that you
understand.
talk about like multiple colors and this and that. Like we have a festival every year in India
Yeah,
where we throw multicolored
Yeah.
powder at each other.
I know. What is that? Holy?
Holy, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
All because Krishna loves lots of colors. and
yeah.
stuff.
I'm down with it, man.
He
Yeah.
also had multiple wives, by the way.
Oh,
He had
that's my
he had
boy.
one wife, but he
Oh.
had multiple wives. I'm still trying to figure out how this works.
really? Oh, it's just the spelling.
It's
man.
like
yeah.
it's like
No.
wife.
It's like
wife.
loaves and
Wife
fishes.
is the
It's
Well,
number
there was
one.
a
miracle, you know?
primary wife, and then there
Oh.
were secondary wives. Like I'm still
Oh.
trying to figure this out. I'm talking to my parents, and they're like, "Wait,
Yeah.
so this is like the deities were polygamous? Well, not
Yeah.
really. Like, but they have multiple. Like, how does
Yeah.
this work? Then? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
get this.
Really?
One was full time, the others were part time.
Yeah.
It's still multiple wives, right? Like, but it's not polygamy somehow. Anyways,
Yeah.
not to
Maybe-
get into the religious side of things, but
Exactly. Maybe
we
they're
have
just home
precedent
life.
for throwing colored powder at each other.
Exactly. So what's the big deal, man? Everybody's still happy afterwards.
Yeah.
You're covered in this stuff and people are laughing.
Mhm.
So why not?
Yeah, we can do squirt
Yeah.
guns, paintball,
Exactly.
whatever.
Except I think, if you're going to start targeting the sim fellows, then all of them have to be wearing
Oh,
eye
of
guards.
Of course.
Yeah, all the time. You're going to come to a meeting with a mask and with eye guards, and you're not going to recognize half of them. I came in, I'm going to come in combat fatigues
Yeah.
and a helmet.
Well, we won't even
because-
see you then.
I
because
know.
you're fatigued. So
Yeah,
like this
I know.
floating
Exactly. I'll
helmet.
just be,
It's camouflage.
right. Exactly.
you'll just
I'll just blend in the wall.
You just like
Yeah.
The problem with this idea, though, Prasanth, is that there's a very large Canadian community in sim. And these guys are just going to be running around apologizing to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Have some maple syrup. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't see Dennison apologizing to anybody, man. Yeah. Really?
That's why we call him the Don.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I mean, he's ferocious, man. He stands up for his country. Yeah.
Yep.
The Maple Leaves, everybody.
Yeah.
So when we were preparing for some of the game night, one of the challenges was stacking cups. And it ended up, it was Don and somebody else. So it ended up being like US versus Canada.
Really?
Yeah, so people got like put a Canadian flag on one iPad and American and like holding it up. We're like taking pictures for it.
And so that's how cup stacking was born as a sport.
Yeah.
Really?
That's where competitive cup stacking.
International competitive cup stacking because
Oh.
it was Don versus other people.
Incredible. Because he's had a lot of practice from playing beer pong, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was
Wow.
good. Yeah, but definitely being around everyone has been a lot of fun. And I don't know if we can have even more fun with games and stuff like that. It might be too much.
What do you mean? It's never too much, man. Yeah. There's always the evening.
That's true.
Yeah. I know.
Has anybody been out to the water park?
No, I've not left the compound in 4 days.
Well, it's technically in the compound.
Yeah.
but
Oh, okay.
It's a
Well,
nice
it's
water
true.
Park. Yeah.
Oh, you mean this water park that's here
Yeah,
inside?
right here. Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
Did you go down the water slide?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So, disclaimer, I'm here with my wife and kids. One wife.
Okay, one wife. Okay, see, good boy.
Yeah, he's not my
okay.
The day before the meeting, we actually had a chance to go around.
Oh, okay.
They're probably there right now as we speak. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've had
Oh, all right.
a chance to
The
try
water
it.
slides are fun.
The pool is actually open until 10 p.m. So if you're still here for another night, you can enjoy it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Follow the poolside chat.
Who knew?
No,
Who
fire
knew?
poolside
That's
chat.
what we should do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know exactly. Yeah, why didn't we take this poolside?
And so we're in
we
this
hear all these screaming
room.
kids in the background.
Yes.
I know.
Oh.
Your kids would be coming up after you. Damn.
Don Dennison, by the way, has like a permanent cabana by the pool.
Oh, he does?
Yes. So there's a party there in case you're looking for
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, I know. I see the big flag, the big red and white flag hanging over it.
Yeah,
overhead.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I know.
The one next to it's got a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups. We all know who's there.
Oh, yeah, pretty much, man.
We
Yeah.
love you, Don.
I know.
So this is my first sim meeting. First time I've experienced
Really?
like a gift. Yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
No, for sure. I,
Wow.
mean, I did virtual, but I don't count that,
Yeah.
honestly, you know.
Oh,
And
I knew you were there.
oh, thank you. That means
Yeah.
a lot to me. I appreciate
Okay.
that. Thanks for
Okay,
that.
cool. Yeah.
He was the one bad mouthing everybody
Yeah,
all along.
exactly. Yeah.
That's a high mic.
I know.
It has some consciousness, man. All right.
Yeah.
No.
Fortunately, you were on mute.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There we go. No, and so I haven't really experienced a resort,
Mhm.
you know,
Oh, the concept?
or the concept. And I mean, we don't have gators in Dallas, right? There are gators here walking around
Yeah.
the compound.
Right. I know.
Is that the-
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I found one in my room.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
know.
not just me.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I had to fling. Had to grab him by the tail.
It's a
fling him
finished
off
room.
the balcony. Yeah. Got him back into the pool. I know. Yeah, I didn't realize there were gators in that water
No.
until I saw people saying, "What are they looking at?" I thought everything in there was plastic.
Yeah.
And then, so, oh my God, that thing's moving, man. Yeah.
And then people around here are like, oh, it's a small one. It's only 4 feet. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That small? Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that'll take a limb off
Yeah,
for sure.
It's fine. You can get another one. You
Yeah.
get 2 other, you have another foot, another hand.
I know.
It's all good.
Yeah, well, the good part about Gaylord is once you get used to navigating around here, you can go to anyone in the world and it's all the same.
Standards.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I know.
Mhm.
So many Gaylords. Yeah, I
Yep.
know.
Yeah, like there was, we had pretty sure Dallas, of course, DC,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Denver, here.
There's Opryland Hotel in
Yeah.
Nashville,
Yep,
which I think was
Right.
the first of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that was already, I don't know the history of this joint at all, but because
yeah,
that Opryland Hotel has been there for a very long time.
Yeah,
and it
that's
already was this massive, it's clearly another city. I think it's the size of it is on a scale multiple times bigger than this,
Mhm.
and you get lost in there easily. But
a whole collection of like one of these
Of atriums.
atrium after another.
or
it's-
another,
it's
like you have no
crazy.
idea where you are.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I was walking out down the jungle area and I got into the Pirates Cove and I started walking in circles and I got lost
Yeah.
in the labyrinth. I thought, this is initiation. This is what happens.
Exactly.
You know,
And suddenly all these pirates
if
jump
you
out like,
get-
yar, we made
Yeah.
it.
So-
if you can
and-
find your way out, you made it.
And actually, for some of the little kids that come here, if they end up walking around like that, that's where they feed to the alligators.
Yes,
There you go.
exactly.
Note for your family.
Yeah,
By the way.
Mohannad's going to go take
Keep
a
an
phone
eye
call
on
with his
him.
wife real
Yeah.
quick, like, hey, where are the kids?
I know. Who knows? Alligator.
Yeah, the
bait.
hotel people
Yeah.
just sort of look at you and go, "Oh, well, we're feeding the gators."
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
If you'd like to be by there around, say, 10:30, you can see the feeding
Yeah.
of the gators.
Yeah, just bring the squealing kids.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a good time, man. Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I think the main thing I was telling Chuck, I said, just when you figure out your way around this joint, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 days, is that enough for Sim? Why don't we do like a
Yeah.
full week?
I don't know. It's never been a whole week, as far as I remember. Dating back to 1902 during the first Sim.
Technically, some people started on Wednesday, right? Because you
We had
had
the pre-meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ACR summit,
Yeah.
the user group meeting.
Right.
I know the first semi,
Which I wish actually would be staggered. I know they're in the afternoon on Wednesdays, but I think it would be valuable personally to be able to potentially attend to,
Yeah.
to get to both of them.
If you got the money.
I think the time, for all of us, it's always a kind of a balance, and it's challenging for a lot of folks to break away from their clinical practice, or if they're IT professionals from that job, and to do that for a whole week, for a lot of people means they have to eat up vacation time
Absolutely.
to do it. And I think it's really been an action-packed 3 days. There's a lot of content here,
Mhm.
and I think you can accomplish a lot. And I mean, I think all of us love the RSNA, but even that, they're trying to shorten that, right? They've
And
shortened the meeting.
they have shortened the meeting.
Right,
Saying like
now
a
it's-
shorter meeting makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even taking some of the sessions and
Right.
going from 90 minutes down to 60 minutes for a lot of it. And it makes sense for a lot of it. I think we've been successful personally. I think the meeting length here felt just right in terms of what we were able to achieve. And it's a lot of content.
Yeah.
And if you really want Chris Roth to, his head to explode, just tell him, yeah, we love what you're doing now. Do it for 7 days instead of 3.
Exactly.
Right? We love you, Chris. We're not going to do that to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last day, you want to have everyone have the feeling of wanting more. You don't want people going, oh, I can't do another day of this. So it's definitely true, because I think the trend is shorter meetings, shorter sessions, shorter meetings, shorter lectures. I mean, that's just how it's been. I mean, back when Chuck and I were growing up, using real Kodak slides on 2 carousels and everything else that, during ancient times, daguerreotypes, and, lectures were like an hour long. I mean, refresher courses, I can't even imagine standing up there and talking that long. You had fewer courses, you had fewer variety, fewer speakers. I mean, just, now everybody look at that and say, what are you guys, insane? And yeah, it was kind of stupid, but that's how education was.
But
Education was very
even the
traditional.
meetings back when it was SCAR, I think it was a maximum of 4 days. But
Yeah.
SCAR, the predecessor to SIM, was the first scientific meeting that I ever presented at. And I remember bringing my 35 millimeter slides.
I know, dropped them all over the floor.
Get them in the carousel and going and practicing my talk. I actually went to the meeting room. It was in
Study
Hilton
room?
Head, South. No, well, I'd never given a talk
Oh,
before.
so you went in
right?
the meeting room and got to practice in there?
Yeah, it's just
really?
a small class. Not big planner. It was just going to be a scientific session. So I went to the meeting room and put my slides in the carousel and walked through it and practiced my talk, and then decided I was done and left for the
Yeah.
actually came back. It was a great meeting, and there was getting to know a lot of the people who had been central to organizing
Yeah.
both RISC and then SCAR and then now SIM. I mean, it's part of the joy of coming to meetings like
Right.
this.
One thing that I think I remember clearly, because I think, Wiggins and I think came up around the same time, is that this meeting has always been incredibly collegial.
Oh, yeah.
And to everybody, if you were a young faculty member or a trainee of any type, there were always people to talk to. There were always people that would encourage you. There were always people you could ask. This came up before at the
and
Sim
they're
breakfast.
accessible.
Right, they're
right?
accessible, but you can ask people, because when you're young, you're kind of shy. Look, I'd like to get more involved. Is there any way I could give a talk on blank, or I have some expertise in this? Is there a way I could get involved? I notice there's a track on this. and people are like inviting. Say, sure, give me your name, and next year we'll get you in on that session, or whatever else. And it's like inclusivity has always been part of SIM, as far as SCAR and SIMS for as long as I remember. And not all the societies have been that way. You'd have to actually earn your keep to try and get in on a lot of the other, a lot of the clinical radiology societies.
And part of the reason for that too is probably because our field, and in particular informatics as applies to imaging, thrives on innovation. And you can't say, innovation's great. We'll wait till you're a full professor and then we'll listen to what you have to say. It's like, no, people who are coming in, and even a lot of our trainees and a lot of the, other and technical, people who are medical trainees, people who come from the IT realm, bring this tremendous wealth of knowledge and expertise into the mix. And it's to our own advantage to be able to listen to them and learn from them. And I think the spirit that SIM brings about inclusiveness, as you said, Adam, is really something that allows us to grow as individuals and then for the society to grow as well.
Right.
So Paul Nagy introduced me to somebody who, as a high school student, lectured at CMIMI. She presented there as a high school student. Brianna.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. Like, okay, clearly you're someone to listen to if you've got some ideas.
So the AMIA, the Medical Informatics Association, they actually have a high school presentation competition, which is really kind of surprising in a way. But if you look back, and honestly, you can almost look back at a lot of the people in this room and the people, that you know of in this organization, and they were, even back then, they had interests and they were accomplished and highly focused people. And okay, except for me, but a lot of these people were already, they're like, you could have almost picked them out and said, yeah, they're going to be doing some cool stuff, right? And so why not? We've had medical students. I've had undergrads who've worked with me on papers. And we had one of our guys who was an undergrad just now going to medical school who presented here at SIM at the last in-person meeting, when it would have been, 2019, right?
Yeah.
So
I know. And we take it for granted, but how exciting is that experience? I mean, really, it might be terrifying, because everybody remembers when they gave their first talk. I sure as hell did. And talk about filling up my diaper and beforehand and whatever else. I was absolutely terrified about getting on the stage and doing that.
Really, just the first one.
Yeah, just the first one.
It took me 10 years in the business to get used to standing up in front of talking to people.
I'm still wearing Huggies for that reason. But
we've been doing this thing for 5 years, coming on 6, and it's a little nerve-wracking, making sure we have everything lined up.
I know.
Everything going. And now we're live on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Guess
and we gotta make jokes and all this other stuff. It's not just content. It's like, okay, now we're supposed to be entertaining too.
Right.
It's a whole other level.
You gotta make it worthwhile, right? You can't just do that. No, absolutely.
And to speak to your point about inclusivity, SIM's all about that's a great idea. You should do this.
Right. Exactly.
This is how the podcast started. I said to Meaden, why don't we have a podcast? That's a great idea. I'm going to introduce you to Janice. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Somebody who actually knows what they're doing should do this. Nope, it's you.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, there's this other guy, Arjun. You guys are doing this together. Here's some money. Uh-oh.
Wow.
And so, inclusivity, right? And I see ophthalmology, cardiology, pathology, dermatology, all these sessions, the scope's growing. Has that been, how long have we talked about that? Has this been within the last year?
That was part of the vision of changing it from taking the R out of SCAR. And
there were too many people coming here as pirates.
SCAR.
And becoming imaging informatics in medicine.
Yeah.
To really be able to capture the breath. But it takes time, because just because you're in dermatology doesn't mean that you see this necessarily as a meeting that makes sense for you. But it's interesting because a lot of our colleagues in imaging disciplines outside of radiology are really moving into these areas. Digital pathology is coming. Derm is something that, obviously informatics is going to play a huge role in, with everything from people taking little smartphone pictures of their skin boo-boos and uploading those to the cloud, and it says, that what you have is witch hazel, or I think it's going to be just people are going to use plant snap, and they'll take a look at their little mole, and it's going to tell them that you have Coriolepsis, but it is what it is. And even ophthalmology, they're actually getting serious now about standards and understanding imaging, and this is the place. Quite honestly, right? This is where, if you were going to connect with people to say, is there anybody around here who knows something about DICOM? Well, we've got, we got Brad Generu and Kevin McDonald and Steve Horry and David Clooney and, all these people, right? And it's like, if you wanted to connect and understand about standards, about technologies, this is your crowd.
To your question, they've been trying for years to bring in these other ologies in here. And I'd say it's been relatively unsuccessful until now. I mean, now it's like, we realize now we have people on the board. There's people that finally from these other disciplines that are finally on here. That was always the goal for many years. We would invite people, from all these disciplines and have them give talks in their particular area, but it never kind of caught on to the point where we could actually get them and brought in at leadership level and whatever else. So to me, this is really exciting. Like seeing that yesterday when they're saying, wow, the composition of the board is changing to the point where we're finally recognizing we've expanded to this point where we're finally getting.
Do you think that's the environment now? What I'm thinking is that for a lot of this, the fact that AI and deep learning have come along as a technology has brought pathology and derm and all, it's really become an imaging, and to the point where if you're an ophthalmologist, you're going to go to ophthalmology meetings, right? But I think the thing about the reason that people might want to come here is because radiology has had kind of a leadership role in applying standards for imaging and doing workflow for imaging and applying AI for imaging. And we have opportunities to learn from each other.
Absolutely.
In all honesty, I thought this was going to happen a decade ago when everyone had to go to EMR. Right. And we've been doing reporting. We've been doing all these things. We know how the computer systems work and how to hook them up and how to integrate. So that may have been kind of a precursor into, okay, we're going to learn from radiology with it. They don't have to do what we did, right? Obviously, but at least we've made a bunch of mistakes. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, now we have to take pictures. Do you want to use DICOM? You don't have to. It's great. A standard exists.
Right.
You don't have to make your own standard now. Right. If you want to do something else, that's fine too. And then now, like you're saying, like with AI, it's definitely coming along. And I was just in a session about AI governance, and I was asking the question, like, should AI governance just really fall under enterprise imaging governance? Because if everybody wants their own shiny toys, and we want interoperability, we want everything, the firewall rules to be right, the security, yada yada yada, that all kind of stuff falls under enterprise imaging, which in general, radiology has led the charge on.
One thing that I found really interesting was, at the dermatology talk this morning, they were talking about having challenges associated with getting AI to populations that need it or that would benefit from it, right? And there it's, being able to get to populations to take the images, to get the pictures. Like, how many times in the reading room, do we think that, AI is running here, but I never had the foresight to think about how many populations have access to these tools. But now, because again, learning from our colleagues in a different discipline, going back to this and thinking how many patients don't have access to these tools, right? And so I think that's the beauty of learning from each other. So learning from is sharing these challenges and taking that step back with a different lens. Absolutely.
I think so. But I think getting back to the inclusivity theme, and I don't know, and maybe it's wrong of me to even think of this, people of Chuck's and my vintage, I think part of it is the fact it's you guys, because I think it's generational. I think because, and maybe I'm completely off about this, but, way back when we said we have to be inclusive of all these other subspecialties, I think these were people of our generation who said, no, that's my club. We don't take outsiders in or whatever else.
I hope it wasn't that. I think, truthfully, I'm just not sure that there was a compelling use case for a dermatologist to come to this as a meeting. I don't think we would have pushed them out. But and maybe the other part, though, I mean, to your point, maybe we just didn't know a whole lot of them, right?
Yeah. I'm not saying that SIM was being exclusive about the whole process. I'm saying in general, I think of our generation, I think there were a lot more silos in the radiology space to begin with. And part of it was the groups to discover each other. Like, would a dermatologist ever know about SIM to begin with? How would they discover that SIM actually exists? I think their generation is actually a lot more inclusive of everybody. We want everybody to be part of the process and part of the experience. And at least my feeling in looking back is that people were very focused on maintaining silos, and there's a lot less of that thinking these days. So I'm just giving props to you guys, basically, for helping to encourage the process going forward.
So I'd like to point out one thing.
Yeah.
We're joking about bidet before, but in this conversation, we've talked about belonging, inclusivity, diversity, and equity, data equity. Just finished talking about that, and all about technology. Thank you, bidet.
Oh.
And
was that the close? Is that the close?
That's kind of our closing. We're closing on, but we are coming up. Mic drop.
Real quick. So a couple, we like to, here at Simcast, we encourage continuous monitoring, right? Mm-hmm. So a couple of summary statistics. We no longer can use the words AI use case interoperability standards because we ran out of the quota during this conversation. That's it.
All right. Thanks. Enough.
Well, this has been a great Between Two Fellows recording. Thank you both for joining us and sitting down and chatting.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
And keep an eye on those bobbleheads.
Yeah.
Simcast has been brought to you by the Society of Imaging Informatics in Medicine. Please visit our website at siim.org for more information and educational content, including webinars and an archive of prior episodes. Please follow us on Twitter at sim_tweets. Thank you to our listeners for your continued support.